blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube.
Dang, that one came from your toes.
All right.
Okay, only two that I know today. That's easy enough. Really not.
Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Kelly and I'm here with Tony. We invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel Monday to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.
And starting us off with some good news this morning, missing Springfield teen has been located safely. This article by the Daily Citizen staff originally said that Springfield police were asking for the public's help in locating a missing endangered child. According to a news release from the Springfield Police Department, Brianna Swanson, age 13, is 5'7" and 200 pounds with strawberry blonde hair and hazel eyes. Swanson was last seen leaving the 1500 block of South Golden Avenue, possibly in a vehicle. The vehicle details are unknown. They had asked for tips from the community, and we have an update as of 4:43 p.m. on April 30th. The Springfield Police Department announced that Brianna Swanson was safely located. So that is happy news to start us off this morning.
From the Springfield News-Leader, cannabis businesses sue Good Day Farm for suppressing the competition. Two Missouri licensed cannabis cultivators and manufacturers have filed a class action lawsuit against Missouri's largest dispensary chain, alleging it violated the Missouri Constitution and created a cartel. CPC of Missouri Smithville LLC and GF St. Mary LLC are suing Good Day Farm, alleging that GDF owns, controls, or manages an illegally high share of the state's dispensary licenses and uses this market power to manipulate Missouri cannabis market by working with a network of companies and investors to create a cartel. The GDF cartel is suppressing competition in the wholesale cannabis market and enriching itself with illegal profits through an unconstitutional and clandestine business conspiracy. Missouri's cultivators and manufacturers have been suffering under this scheme for too long. Many of them know something is wrong but don't realize the scope of the cartel's market manipulation, said Bob Hoffman, one of the lawyers leading the litigation, in a media release. We filed this suit to restore the fair, competitive marketplace that Missourians voted for when they approved recreational cannabis in 2022. Missouri licensed cannabis companies who have experienced these practices should join us, as they may be entitled to significant damages. Feuerstein, it's Feuerstein, Kulick, Kulick, LLP, and Brian Cave Leighton Paisner, LLP, will represent wholesalers who join the case. A spokesperson for Good Day Farm denies the claims made in the lawsuit. The claims in this lawsuit are baseless and without merit. Our company operates in full compliance with all applicable Missouri state laws and regulations, and we will vigorously defend that record, the spokesperson said in an emailed statement. We will not allow aggressive legal tactics to distract us from what matters most, our mission to deliver uninterrupted service and exceptional products to the patients, customers, and employees who rely on us. Here's what to know about the class action lawsuit, why it calls Good Day Farm a cartel, and more. First off, what is a cartel? A cartel is a group of independent corporations or entities that join together to fix prices, rig bids, allocate markets, or conduct other similar illegal activities, according to the Cornell Law School's Legal Information Institute. Missouri's antitrust law prohibit every contract, combination, or conspiracy and restraint of trade or commerce in this state, as well as monopolization, the attempt to monopolize, or conspiracy to monopolize trade or commerce in the state. A monopoly is a single entity from creating unreasonable restraint of competition in a market, according to the Legal Information Institute. In essence, the term monopoly may be used any time that a market for a good is controlled by a limited number of actors, the L2 says. The lawsuit alleges that the GDF cartel is classified as a monopoly, or a single buyer for a given good. Why is the lawsuit calling Good Day Farm a cartel? The lawsuit claims that after Missouri voters legalized recreational cannabis in 2022, Good Day Farm took advantage of the market to extract illegal profits by restraining competition. The lawsuit said that Good Day Farm recruited other cannabis license holders, including independently owned dispensaries and affiliated wholesalers, who then agreed to turn over control of their businesses to Good Day Farm. According to the filing, the GDF cartel operates under 5 different brand names, including Good Day Farm, CODES, Greenlight, Fresh Karma, and 315 Primo. The filing alleges that the group of 5 brands consistently colludes to purchase cannabis products from non-cartel wholesalers at artificially depressed prices, stock their 61 dispensaries with substantially the same products, primarily those produced by the cartel's cultivators, to the substantial exclusion of products from independent wholesalers, compel independent wholesalers who also operate dispensaries to purchase the cartel's finished product as a condition of getting their own wholesale products onto the cartel's dispensary shelves, and they boycott non-cartel wholesalers that refuse to agree to the cartel's anti-competitive demands. How many licenses is an entity allowed to have? According to the Missouri Constitution, an entity may not be an owner of more than 10% of the total marijuana dispensary facility licenses outstanding under both Sections 1 and 2 of this article at any given time, rounded down to the nearest whole number. There are currently 224 dispensaries approved to operate in the state of Missouri based on the Department of Health and Senior Services data last updated April 9th. So how many licenses does the lawsuit say the GDF cartel has? Between the 5 brand names the lawsuit alleges the GDF cartel operates under, DHSS indicates there are 67 active licenses, which is nearly a third of the total licenses in Missouri. There are 4 licenses by one entity operating under the 315 Primo brand, 20 licenses by 13 entities for CODES brand, 6 licenses by 3 entities for Fresh Karma brand, 21 licenses by 15 entities operating under the Good Day Farm brand, and 16 licenses by 10 entities for the Greenlight brand. Good Day Farm is the largest dispensary branded chain in the Missouri cannabis market, with CODES being the second and Greenlight being the third. There are 3 Good Day Farm locations and 1 Greenlight dispensary in Springfield. Good Day Farm, Greenlight, Fresh Karma, and 315 Primo all have locations in Columbia. What else is the lawsuit saying? In addition to the claims regarding collusion and outsized market share, the lawsuit alleges that the GDF cartel used its market power to depress wholesale prices by more than 20%, and that none of the discounts it extracts from plaintiffs and class members are going to consumers.
And a Battlefield man has been jailed and accused of sexually abusing 4 girls. This article from Zoe McIntyre in the Springfield Daily Citizen begins with a photo of the outside of the Battlefield Police Department with its flags flying. It's a small brick building with just one police vehicle, it looks like, and another civilian vehicle pulled up. A Battlefield man is being held without bond in the Greene County Jail on 9 felony charges and 1 misdemeanor for allegedly sexually abusing 4 girls. Andrew Lee Jones, age 37, was booked into jail on April 23rd. He is accused of abusing the victims in various incidents over several years. The victims' ages are redacted in a probable cause statement. Andrew Jones has shown a pattern over the last 7 years using various drugs, alcohol, and manipulation to sexually assault young girls. Despite being reported previously, Jones has continued to sexually assault victims. Richard Counts, investigator for the Greene County Prosecutor's Office, wrote in the statement, Jones' charges include 1 count of first-degree child molestation and 2 counts of statutory sodomy or attempted statutory sodomy of a person less than 14 years old. The Missouri State Highway Patrol's website indicates that the suspect is not a registered sex offender as of the date of publication. Following is a headline that reads, "Authorities completed multiple investigations starting in 2019. And then there's a photo of Andrew Lee Jones. It's a booking photo from the Greene County Sheriff's Office where he is up against a gray cinder block wall wearing some sort of black pullover jacket. Battlefield police first investigated Jones after a girl referred to as Victim 1 disclosed an attempted sexual assault to her school counselor, the probable cause statement says. Victim 1 stated that she was provided with alcohol and marijuana and shown pornography at Jones's residence in October 2019. She stated that Jones reached out for her breasts with his hands in the air, but she pulled away. Another girl, identified as Victim 4, was present during the incident, according to the statement. Victim 4, who is now an adult, reported that Jones sexually assaulted her for the first time a couple of months before the October 2019 incident and had inappropriate contact with her, quote, many times. Jones would purchase Victim 4 alcohol, vapes, and provide marijuana for her, and Victim 1 and 2 to smoke, the statement reads. In 2022, Victim 2 disclosed an incident of sexual abuse, being provided alcohol and marijuana at Jones's residence while Victim 4 was present. The alleged incident took place approximately 2 to 3 years prior to the disclosure. Battlefield Police and the Children's Division completed an investigation, the document states. Battlefield Police completed another investigation in March 2026 after another girl, identified as Victim 3, completed a forensic interview at the Springfield Child Advocacy Center. She disclosed that she, quote, fell asleep in her bedroom and later awoke to find Jones in her bed, the document states. Victim 3 reported that Jones had inappropriate sexual contact with her and, quote, had given her pills that he said would help her anxiety. On April 22nd, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Connor Harris requested that the sexual abuse case be temporarily removed from CaseNet, Missouri's online court database, until a warrant for Jones's arrest was executed. He was booked into the Greene County Jail on April 23rd with 9 felony charges of varying classifications. He is being held without bond and does not have an attorney listed as representing him.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen, the answer man. What's the reason for the excavation near South National and James River Freeway? Hey, answer man. There seems to be a lot of dirt being moved and excavation work near the Rapid Roberts on South National Avenue just south of James River Freeway. There's also work being done nearby on the other side of South National across from Rapid Roberts. What's going on there? Asked Jane Atkinson of Springfield. The Rapid Roberts you're talking about is at 1221 East Kingsley Street, although it sure looks like it's on South National. I mentioned this Rapid Roberts in a June 23rd Answer Man column. A McDonald's that shared space with Rapid Roberts was moving to a new location under construction at the time near the price cutter further south on National a few blocks away. I went to the site to take a look and was surprised by the amount of excavation being done. I called Kristen Millam, a spokesperson for the city of Springfield. She told me that 2 separate things are going on. The first is a public improvement project involving stormwater work to modify regional detention pond along with the relocation of an existing sanitary sewer line, Millam told me via email. This work is associated with 1251 East Kingsley and it's currently approved and under construction. The second project involves renovations to the existing Rapid Roberts convenience store. This project is also currently under construction. When I was there to investigate your question, Jan, the space once occupied by McDonald's was vacant. This is Answer Man column number 174. Also from the Springfield News-Leader, Marta Mees. Branson West man accused of laundering money in an investment scheme. A Branson West man is facing 12 counts of money laundering in federal court for running an alleged investment scheme. David Vernon Lott, 69, is indicted by a federal grand jury for allegedly fronting as an investment business while using investor money for personal use. Lott allegedly owned and operated Missouri Holding Group, MHG, Incorporated, according to a U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Missouri's news release. The indictment claims the business promised potential investors 10-to-1 returns on investments to be repaid within a short period of time. Beginning as early as January of 2018, the release states, Lott used investors' money for personal use. He allegedly used those funds to pay off a personal residence, which he then sold in 2025 and used the proceeds of the sale in 12 separate transactions. Each of these transactions exceeded $10,000, according to the release. Lott was released from custody on personal recognizance bond, according to filings on PACER. A jury trial has been scheduled for 9 a.m. June 1st. The case was investigated by the Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation and the Missouri Secretary of State's Securities Enforcement Division. Lott also faces state criminal charges in Stone and Taney counties pursued by the Missouri Attorney General's office. In Stone County, he faces 2 counts of securities fraud, 2 counts of stealing, and 2 counts of financial exploitation of an elderly person. In Taney County, Lott faces 3 counts of securities fraud and 1 count of stealing. Both cases were filed in 2024 and have yet to go to trial. According to a past AG's office news release, victims' losses in the state's case exceeded $1.1 million. Marta Meese covers local government at the News-Leader. If you have feedback, tips, or story ideas, contact her at mmieze@news-leader.com.
And in other financial crime news, one of 9 men indicted in a $7 million Southwest Missouri gambling ring pleads guilty. This article brought to us by Jack McGee in the Springfield Daily Citizen begins with a photo of a storefront with a sign posted to it, a typed sign posted to it with evidence tape. It says the city ordinance banning VLTs was taped to the door of Big Win Arcade Games, located at 1928 South Glenstone Avenue in the Plaza Shopping Center, using red evidence tape. Big Win Arcade was one of several game rooms connected to Rahulkumar D. Patel and his co-conspirators. One of 9 men indicted in 2025 for allegedly running an illegal gambling business throughout Southwest Missouri pleaded guilty on Tuesday, April 28th in federal court. Rahulkumar D. Patel, age 41, a citizen of India residing in the state of Washington, pleaded guilty before U.S. Chief Magistrate Judge Willie J. Epps, Jr. to 1 count each of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business, and conspiracy to commit money laundering, according to a press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Missouri. On May 14, 2025, Patel was charged, along with 8 other individuals, in a 72-count indictment by a federal grand jury with 1 count each of participating in a conspiracy to commit wire fraud, conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business, and operating illegal gambling businesses from July 1st, 2022 to May 13th, 2025. In addition to the conspiracy counts, all 9 defendants were charged with at least 1 count of wire fraud, and 8 defendants were charged with money laundering. The federal indictment valued the illegal gambling operation at over $9.5 million, according to previous reporting. Through his guilty plea, Patel admitted that he and his co-conspirators obtained approximately $7,696,085 in gross proceeds from their wire fraud scheme and illegal gambling businesses, and then conducted various financial transactions for the purpose of laundering the proceeds. He also admitted that he and his co-conspirators ran illegal gambling businesses under the guise of internet amusement arcade games, skill game arcades, and adult arcades. The indictment alleges the illegal gambling business operated 6 locations across Southwest Missouri, including 4 in Springfield, 1 in Joplin, and 1 in Branson West. Patel told investigators in 2024 that after the gambling operation he was managing in Springfield was raided by police, he came to Joplin to manage Spin Zone, according to previous reporting. Patel and his co-conspirators are accused of hiring local employees to work in their businesses, which operated contests of chance, gambling devices, and slot machines in violation of Missouri and federal law, according to the press release. Patel is subject to a sentence of up to 25 and 20 years in prison, respectively, for each count to which he pleaded guilty. A sentencing hearing will be scheduled after the completion of a pre-sentence investigation by the United States Probation Office, according to the release. While the Springfield Police Department helped investigate the case among myriad other law enforcement agencies, it is not related to the Springfield ordinance banning no chance games, commonly referred to as video lottery terminals or VLTs.
From the Springfield Business Journal, $250,000 settlement reached in a case involving a late Springfield landlord. The federal government has reached a settlement in a case involving sexual harassment allegations against a late Springfield landlord. The settlement named defendant Jimmy Bell, as well as Fourth Bell LLC and the trustee of Second Bell Trust. Bell died in February of 2025, and his son, Mark Bell, was substituted as his successor defendant, according to a news release from the Justice Department. Through the settlement, the defendants have been ordered to pay $250,000 to former tenants who were allegedly harmed by Jimmy Bell's harassment, according to the release. Bell allegedly made unwelcome sexual comments, requested sexual acts in exchange for excusing late or unpaid rent, and retaliated against tenants who refused his sexual advances. No tenant should ever be forced to choose between their safety and keeping a roof over their head, said R. Matthew Price, U.S. Attorney for the Western District of Missouri, in a release. Exploiting power for sexual coercion and retaliation is not only immoral, it's also illegal. In addition to the six-figure settlement figure, the release states that defendants must make good faith efforts to have retaliatory evictions removed from public court records and credit reports, cease ongoing efforts to obtain payments from tenants who faced retaliatory evictions, and conduct training to prevent future discrimination. And if you're looking for something fun to do from the Springfield News-Leader, free Gigs in the Garden bring live music back to Springfield in May. Springfield residents can enjoy live music in a garden setting as Gigs in the Garden returns for 4 Sundays in May. The free outdoor concert series will feature a diverse lineup of performers at the Springfield Botanical Gardens at Nathaniel Green Close Memorial Park, 2400 South Scenic Avenue. Concerts are scheduled for 2 p.m. May 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 31st. There will be no performance on Memorial Day weekend, according to a community announcement. The series will open May 3rd with Bentenya, Bentenya, a group of female Japanese Chindon, Chindon, or street-style performers. Bentenya is returning to Springfield after debuting at the Japanese Fall Festival in Springfield of 2025 and is traveling the Route 66 corridor. Violinist Allison Steiner is scheduled to perform May 10th, offering a mix of jazz, Broadway hits, and classical pieces. Singer-songwriter Brett Miller and the Gigantic Band are expected to take the stage May 17th, performing original folk rock and Americana music. The series will close May 31st with Annabelle Moore, a young Springfield musician whose music blends modern folk and indie styles. Family-friendly activities and refreshments are planned. The concerts are hosted by the Springfield Sister Cities Association and volunteer organizers Rick Mayer and Linda Choris, with support from the Springfield Greene County Park Board. Attendees are encouraged to bring blankets or lawn chairs. In case of rain, the shows will be moved into the Springfield Greene County Botanical Center. Each Sunday will include a kids' make and take activity with a special craft planned for Mother's Day on May 10th. Beer, wine, and soft drinks will be available for sale. Donations are encouraged with a suggested amount of $10. Proceeds will go to the Springfield Sister Cities Association Traveling Musician Fund, which supports artists representing Springfield at the annual Fall City Festival in Sister City, Ishizaki, Japan. Springfield Regional Arts Council is the presenting sponsor through the Arts and Culture Grant Program. The annual sponsor is Tom Finney, whose contributions helped establish the Peace Through People Pavilion in the adjacent K. Cummins Finney Dogwood Garden. The Springfield Sister Cities Association will hold its annual membership celebration from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. May 17th, featuring cultural performers, food and drinks reflecting Springfield's Japanese and Mexican sister cities. The event is open to the public, and members, including those who join that day, will receive free tickets for free food and beverages, according to the announcement. The Springfield Sister Cities Association is committed to providing universal access to its events. The location includes concrete paths for viewing performances, wheelchair-accessible restrooms, and designated handicap parking. A limited number of wheelchairs are available on a first-come, first-served basis. Those needing specific accommodations can call 417-864-1191 to request assistance. For more information, visit peacethroughpeople.org/gigs-in-the-garden or call 417-864-1191.
And as you might imagine, there is no shortage of news on the hailstorm earlier this week. This first article comes to us from Joe Hadsall with the Springfield Daily Citizen and talks about how Springfield's public schools were affected. The article begins with a photo of some vehicles parked outside Hillcrest High School, and they're covered with tarps after suffering damage in Tuesday's hailstorm. A day after baseball-sized hail brutalized parts of the region, Springfield Public Schools officials got a better idea of the damage done to the district's schools. While significant damage was recorded at 13 buildings, the most severe damage caused by the hail was on the personal vehicles of teachers, students, and other employees. No one was hurt during the storm, which happened while school was in session. Thankfully, all students and staff remained safe and buildings were secure during the severe weather, said Stephen Hall, Chief Communications Officer for SPS. We have returned to normal operations district-wide. Hall said the greatest damage by far was done to vehicles in parking lots. At Hillcrest High School on Wednesday, several hail-damaged cars remained parked and covered, awaiting a tow in parking lots for both staff members and students. The same sort of damage was done to the district-owned vehicles such as buses and police vehicles. Some buildings experienced brief power outages and small roof leaks, and one building had a cracked window. In addition to Hillcrest, damage was reported at many northern schools: Academy of Exploration, Bissett, Bowerman, Fremont, Truman, Watkins, Williams and York Elementaries, Pleasant View and Westport K-8s, Mallory Early Childhood Center, and Study Alternative Center. Repair costs are expected to be funded by the district's insurance coverage. But in good news, most electric outages were resolved following the April 28th hailstorm, although damage to gas meters was unprecedented. This article also comes to us from the Springfield Daily Citizen, this time from Jack McGee, and begins with a photo of a car parked outside the Springfield Branson National Airport on April 28th. The rear windshield is completely shattered and glass everywhere inside the car, and it's clearly raining inside the car. Oof. Following Tuesday's hailstorm, which left more than 10,000 without power, electricity has been restored for the vast majority of affected customers. City utilities at one point on Tuesday, April 28th, reported 10,111 electric outages, most along the Interstate 44 corridor. As of 10:25 a.m. on Wednesday, April 29th, CU's outage map showed just 17 outages, 11 in South Springfield. Each outage represents one customer, encompassing residential, commercial, and industrial customers. Jamie Presley, manager of communications for CU, said the majority of Tuesday's outages were due to two substation issues in North Springfield. Asked if those issues were caused by hail damage, Presley said it was being investigated. It's hard to say still. They're looking at a transformer at one of the substations just to see if maybe damage has been sustained, Presley said. But they're still investigating. They were able to get those back on. In addition to electricity outages, the hailstorm caused widespread damage across Springfield, including busted windshields and damage to roofs, siding, gutters, and gas meters. Presley described the damage to gas meters as, quote, unprecedented, and encouraged residents and contractors making repairs to homes to call CU if they noticed any damage to the utility's infrastructure. If a gas odor is detected, move away from the area immediately and call 911 or 417-863-9000. Yesterday, I went up to our operations area and there's quarter-size holes through the gas meters, Presley said. You know, it's something that folks who have been here for a long time have never seen. So if there's any gas odors or people smell gas, it's so important for them to call it in, and we'll come out there immediately and get those checked out.
From the Springfield Business Journal, Henderson Project to bring restaurant and residential units to the city's far north by Karen Crago, a reporter. Construction on the Henderson, a new mixed-use housing and commercial development approved by Springfield City Council in February for 3305 North Glenstone Avenue, is slated to begin in the fall. The project is an example of a success story in communication between the city and the development team, according to Brent Brown, managing partner of Greenway Development Group, LLC. Brown said he plans to have a one-year build-out. Snyder Construction Group, LLC has been selected as general contractor with Buff Studios, LLC as architect and Olson, Inc. providing some of the engineering work. He declined to disclose the investment for the property or the estimated cost of the project. The approved design is an L-shaped building with a first-floor commercial component fronting Glenstone Avenue. Brown said he would like to see a local restaurant in the space, similar to Traveler's House Coffee, LLC, in his company's Boomertown development, or Niji Sushi Bar and Grill, part of his Galloway Creek development. Brown said the project straddled a period of transition between the old and the revised land development codes in the city, adding to the complexity of the project, but he said the city was very cooperative in helping to adapt plans. It turned out to be something very positive, he said. I thought that was worth mentioning since every other week you hear something negative between a developer and the city or a developer and the neighborhood. Brown said he leaned into the opportunity to build a better development in the project that features 77 residential units and first-floor commercial space. As recently as 10 years ago, he said, he might have vented his frustration that the city was making things hard on him. We didn't do that, he said. The city participated and said, what about this? And what about that? And we said, that's cool. Let's go back and see what we can come up with. Justin Crichton, City Assistant Director of Planning and Development, also found the process to be a fruitful one, noting that the developers approached the city with a collaborative mindset. I think the project turned out better as a result, he said. Brown also praised the collaborative spirit of neighborhood residents, noting that neighbors to the north and west of the development showed up at the January 22nd neighborhood meeting, and they stayed the entire 3 hours seated around a large table to talk about the plans. A sign-in sheet from the event shows 5 residents attended, but Brown said about a dozen people showed up. Some of those folks had lived in their homes for many, many years, he said. Brown said neighbors were concerned about a drainage culvert at the west boundary of the development property, separating it from the residential neighborhood, and neighbors complained that the culvert was overgrown and ugly. The conversation led to a discussion about what they would like to see, one of which is clearing that out over there, and providing some beautification, he said. We talked about lighting, bulk plane, that's the building height, and how the buffer yard and then the parking lot would separate them from the building. For the benefit of both the neighborhood and the development, Brown said he plans to clean up the culvert. Brown said that sometimes developers approach neighborhood meetings with an idea that the less, the better. I think that's the recipe for potential issues down the road, he said. I'd rather just get it all out there. While Greenway Development Group couldn't promise to provide everything the neighborhood wanted, residents left the meeting with an understanding of what would happen, Brown said. We wanted to make sure that they understood what we were going to do and what we felt like we could do. Ultimately, none of them came out and spoke against the development at the Planning and Zoning or Council hearing. Ricky Hayes, Vice President of Olson, Inc., represented the project at the March 9th City Council meeting and pointed out some of the complexity of the project during the transitional period for the code, which included new landscape requirements that had to be worked through. Hayes said 3 parcels had to be combined, with one of them rezoned and with some easement vacated. The 77 apartments included 169 one-bedroom and 8 two-bedroom units. Hayes said the project includes about 1,000 square feet of office space and about 2,000 square feet for a restaurant. That was kind of a way to create a bit of community space rather than just an apartment project here. He added that the staff was helpful. We worked really closely with the staff to get the building up toward the front of the lot, and there was a lot of back and forth. This is probably the 5th or 6th site plan, so we feel like we got it right. Brown said when he is sharing the success story to show that collaboration is possible when a developer is willing to listen. Some of that's lessons learned from what we've been doing over the last several years, he said. I'm quite certain I felt that sense of entitlement as a developer, but I've learned that it's just not the right approach. We learn from those experiences. He added that his background as a local person who was formerly in the grocery business was helpful in the neighborhood meeting. These folks have lived, in some cases, 60 years in their house, and it was fascinating to hear their stories. I was able to tell my story, and they'd all shopped at our stores. I'm just a guy from Springfield like them, and that broke down some of the walls.
And one more article here about the hailstorm this week. This one from Marta Mees in the Springfield News-Leader that talks about widespread hail damage, how it's flooding Springfield auto repair shops, and also talks about how to get help with your claims. Several rounds of thunderstorms and hail as large as softballs struck Springfield on Tuesday, April 28th, resulting in shattered windshields and damaged roofs. While the skies have cleared, many residents have been left to file insurance claims and find ways to pay for costly repairs. The north and west sides of Springfield experienced the most significant damage April 28th, according to initial reports. Videos on social media showed parking lots filled with vehicles with broken glass and hail dents. On Wednesday morning, April 29th, area windshield replacement shops' phone lines were busy and insurance claims began to roll in. John Schaefer, insurance agent with the Resource Center, said in 15 years he had never seen this level of widespread damage from hail. This is probably the most claims we've ever had in the last 24 hours, he said. He recommended those who have seen light damage to their cars call for estimates at a paintless dent repair shop, as there is no urgent time frame to submit claims as long as it happens within a few months. Those who believe their car could be totaled should file a claim as soon as possible. Vehicles with only liability insurance will not have hail damage repairs covered. Schaefer noted vehicle owners should tarp their cars to prevent further water damage to the vehicle in case of future precipitation. When it comes to damage to roofs and siding, Schaefer said it is important for homeowners to contact reputable local roofing companies and avoid fly-by-night companies from out of town. He said receiving an estimate would determine whether the amount of damage would amount to an insurance claim. Regardless of whether the damage is to a home or car, Schaefer said it is paramount to check deductibles, know whether a policy includes free glass, and to call your agent. A lot of companies, last year, they changed the roofing deductibles to percent deductibles over a flat, like $5,000 or $10,000 deductibles, he said. Schaefer said damage to both vehicles and homes can be documented via cell phone camera. He noted some insurance companies, like Progressive, are sending catastrophe response teams to the area to help with claims and ensure the process moves along smoothly with additional adjusters available to view damage. Tony Oshana, president of Star Auto Glass, said the Springfield facility is working on 50 to 60 cars at a time, trying to address all needs as quickly as they can. He said currently replacement takes a maximum of 3 days, and phones have been ringing nonstop. As local repair shops are inundated with calls, availability for repair times is being pushed farther out. It is very sad what happened, very emotional, because a lot of these people don't have insurance, Oshana said. We're trying to accommodate their needs and give them really good prices, trying to get them in and trying to put them online where they can get back to their normal life and conduct their business. He noted that some people from the Star Auto location in St. Louis transferred to the Springfield location to help address repair needs in the Ozarks. However, both Oshana and Schaefer noted the availability of glass could slow repairs down. Schaefer said many shops do not keep enough glass in stock to be able to address the massive influx of requests after the storm. Oshana said if needed glass is not available, the shop must order it from North Kansas City or elsewhere. Schaefer said it is also worth calling auto repair and glass replacement shops in the surrounding areas, such as Joplin and Branson, to possibly find more availability of glass and appointment times. Damage assessments are ongoing, and community support for repairs to homes and vehicles is limited. Springfield Greene County Office of Emergency Management will be collecting reports and assessing the level of damage across the county from the storm to then be reviewed by state and federal disaster relief departments for potential future disaster declaration, which would open assistance tools. The only vehicle-related damage reports that would count toward a disaster declaration are those that are considered underinsured or not insured at all, according to previous News-Leader reporting. Damage reports can be submitted to the OEM office by email at oeminfo@greenecountymo.gov or by calling 417-869-6040. Nicolette Zangara, Public Information Officer with OEM, said email reports are encouraged over phone calls to better collect information and follow up. A report should include name, contact information, extent of damage, where the damage occurred, and level of insurance. Insured, uninsured, or underinsured, meaning insurance is in place but does not cover the current damage. Greene County has also created an online form to submit damage reports, which can be accessed online by computer or smartphone. The American Red Cross provides assistance to individuals whose homes have structural damage that impacts the integrity or safety of their home. Those who may be experiencing structural damage can speak directly with the Red Cross team regarding their situation by calling 1-800-RED-CROSS. That is 1-800-733-2767. For broader recovery needs and most up-to-date community information, residents can connect with United Way by dialing 211. Cars parked at the Springfield Branson National Airport saw extensive damage. Convoy of Hope provided tarps and airport employees placed them on damaged cars per airport social media. The airport advised passengers that many cars are undrivable due to windshield damage, and rental car availability at the airport is limited. This story was updated with additional information.
Caesar's Old Mexico co-founder opening restaurant in former Red's giant Hamburg building. Cesar Ortiz, co-founder of Caesar's Old Mexico on East Sunshine Street, is launching a new restaurant in West Springfield in the building that formerly housed Red's giant Hamburg. Ortiz and his brother-in-law and business partner Rob Bell purchased the property located at 2301 West Sunshine Street in January of 2026. Ortiz said the partners are aiming for a soft opening of the new concept, dubbed Caesar's Lunchador Mexican Restaurant, in late May or early June 2026. Caesar's Luchador will feature Mexican staples in a fun environment, Ortiz said. The chef said to expect many of the same types of dishes that have made Caesar's Old Mexico a popular destination in the last decade. Ortiz and his then business partner and wife, Sandra, started Caesar's Old Mexico, located at 2627 East Sunshine Street in 2015. The restaurant quickly climbed the ranks in Springfield popularity due to its authentic Mexican dishes and high-quality cuisine. In 2025, the couple divorced, and in December of that year, Ortiz officially left the company, he said. It didn't take long for Ortiz to find his next venture. In January of 2026, Ortiz and Bell closed on the property that formerly housed Red's giant Hamburg and began the renovation process ahead of a spring soft opening for Caesar's Luchador, which is a Spanish term for a professional wrestler. Ortiz and Bell started Luchador Enterprises in LLC in January of 2026 and purchased the property that same month, Ortiz said. The company spent about $840,000 on the property acquisition. With renovations and upgrades, Ortiz said he expects the total financial investment to launch Caesar's Luchador will be about $1.15 million. Caesar's Luchador expects a total of about 15 employees. The company is in the hiring process ahead of the soft opening, Ortiz said. Part of the motivation to put his new restaurant in West Springfield was the property price. Ortiz said he got a good deal. The property of the iconic Springfield business Red's Giant Hamburg went to auction in May of 2025, where the highest bid was placed at $575,000. The business owners did not accept the bid, and Ortiz said Red's co-owner, David Campbell, called him last year to discuss Ortiz possibly buying the property. Ortiz and Bell officially became the owners of West Sunshine Street property in January of 2026. The growth and economic development efforts in West Springfield was another factor in Ortiz's decision to place his new restaurant there. What I like about that is that side of town is growing up, getting caught up in stuff. And it's a great opportunity for me to get that place. After the news broke, April 30th, Caesar's Old Mexico made a Facebook post emphasizing that the restaurant is independently owned and operated and not affiliated with any other restaurants. The full text of the post is below. We've seen some confusion in the community, so we wanted to share a clear update. Caesar's Old Mexico is more than a restaurant. It is a story built on family, sacrifice, and dedication. Since opening in 2015, the restaurant was built through hard work and sacrifice with the goal of creating something meaningful for both the family behind it and the community it serves. Sandra has been part of that foundation since the very beginning. She has also been solely operating and leading Caesars Old Mexico for well over the past 2 years, continuing to move the business forward with strength, resilience, and commitment every single day. This business represents a legacy, one built on sacrifice, carried forward with love, and continued for generations to come. We remain committed to serving our community with the same care, quality, and experience you know us for. For clarity, Caesars Old Mexico is independently owned and operated and is not affiliated with any other restaurants. We are deeply grateful for the continued support from our customers and community. It truly means everything. As always, we look forward to welcoming you for your favorite food, drinks, and good times at Caesars Old Mexico, 2627 East Sunshine Street, Springfield, Missouri 65804. Built with sacrifice, continued with love, protected as our legacy. The story is by Ryan Collins, the Business and Economic Development Reporter for the Springfield Daily Citizen. Collins graduated from Glendale High School in 2011 before studying journalism and economics at the University of Missouri-Columbia. He previously worked for Bloomberg News. You can contact him at 417-849-2570 or rcollins@sgfcitizen.org.
And we want to wish a happy birthday to a couple of celebrities celebrating today. First up, we have country singer Tim McGraw, who turns 59 today. We also have actor Jamie Dornan, best known for his role as Christian Grey in 50 Shades of Grey, who turns 44 today. Happy birthday to them both. And in other celebrity news, actor John Goodman remembers Route 66 and MSU during his Springfield visit. This article from Susan Shuk in the Springfield News-Leader says that John Goodman, a Missouri State University alumnus and award-winning actor, returned to Springfield for the Route 66 Centennial Celebration kickoff. In addition to hosting the kickoff concert Thursday night alongside Callie Carroll of the Springfield City Council, Goodman was tapped to ride the MSU float at Friday night's parade. Before that, however, he sat down with local Springfield news outlets to talk about his time at MSU, the Mother Road, and upcoming projects. Here are some excerpts from his conversation with Ozarks Media. Goodman remembers riding his thumb along Route 66 when he went to school at MSU, then known as Southwest Missouri State University. Anytime I needed to get back and forth, I'd get out to the highway. A friend would drop me off. Sometimes I'd wait a while. I'm really familiar with that road. I've got a lot of memories of rain. My brother's old army coat, that kind of kept me dry. I don't know why, but I never worried about it, Goodman said. I just stuck my thumb out, and the highway was kind of like a time machine. Stick your thumb out, take a nap, wake up in Fort Leonard Wood or something. People were great. I have a lot of memories of that old road. As for the soundtrack while on the Mother Road, Goodman leans towards the classics like Woody Guthrie or Hank Williams. For some reason, Route 66 is always Woody Guthrie to me, he said. I always think of that ribbon of highway he sang about, and at one time I had my thumb out on it. Goodman's time at MSU set his course in life, he said, where before he had just been killing time. My life came together here. I was drifting. I went to college just as a time filler, didn't really have much of a purpose, he said. I knew that I wanted to be in a theater department, and I got lucky because this was a very good one at the time. It opened up so many doors for me. When I figured out what I wanted to do, I got very passionate about it. Once he figured out he wanted to be in theater, it was like a fire was ignited. Goodman hopes he can help spark that in today's students. Theater opened up a passion for life here. I feel not indebtedness, but if I can help move that along to the next generation, help some other kid, then it would be worth it, he said. As someone who came of age in a different era, Goodman was hesitant to give aspiring actors advice on the business side of things. Instead, he emphasized the importance of being willing to grow and constantly improve. Really work on yourself and keep your mind open. Just dive into the other arts. Everything ties in. History, the arts, it all merges together, especially when you're doing research for a role. But work on yourself, Goodman said. I got lucky, but when I got lucky, I was prepared for it. You gotta prepare. Keep an open mind and keep your curiosity. That's something I lost for a while, and you gotta keep that eye open for what makes things tick, what makes other people tick. If an aspiring actor follows Goodman's advice but doesn't make it to Hollywood, it's not a loss. If it doesn't work out, you've got a pretty good human being on your hands anyway. Following is a photo of John Goodman, the actor and Missouri State University alumnus, as he listens to a question from a Springfield news outlet during a media availability event on April 29th during the Route 66 Centennial Celebration kickoff. While the area has changed a lot, it feels like home to Goodman. When he's in Springfield, he likes to walk around MSU's campus and have those memories come back. The people in the Ozarks are a constant for him. It changes all the time, but there's something about it that's so familiar, and the people don't change much, Goodman said. They're still as good and friendly as when I left, and they told me, good riddance, but I keep coming back. Goodman also emphasized the importance of knowing and remembering your roots as a way to connect with others. It's very important to know where you came from because you can relate it to everyone else. As different as we are, the country comes from basically the same drive, the same place, but if you know your local history, I think you got to jump on everything else because it's so interesting here, he said. This is a beautiful, beautiful land. The Ozark Plateau, all the beauty in the rivers and the springs around here, it's got a little something for everybody. When asked about whether he encountered any differences in Hollywood due to his working-class Missouri background, Goodman said the two have more in common than one might think. Hollywood is hard work. For me it is, I guess, if you're doing it right. The other stuff is hard, the press and all that other stuff, the publicity that goes with it. You have to learn to adapt yourself to it, he said. I didn't see much of a difference because if you're whining about your hours, there are guys that have been there 2 hours before you setting up. You get to appreciate each and every job, but everybody gets to work their tail off. It's a good background. Goodman is currently promoting 2 films he has been a part of, both of which he said are due out in the fall. Chili Finger was co-written and co-directed by Goodman's son-in-law, Ed Benda, and Benda's friend, Stephen Helstad. It follows the story of a small-town lawyer, played by Judy Greer, who finds a human finger in her chili and then tries to blackmail the restaurant for a cash payout. Bryan Cranston and Sean Astin also star in it. It was a little slice of heaven working on that, Goodman said. Filming took place in Champaign, Illinois. He is also working on Digger, a film about the most powerful man in the world who embarks on a frantic mission to prove he is humanity's savior before the disaster he's unleashed destroys everything. Goodman plays the President of the United States and stars alongside Tom Cruise, who also produced it, Riz Ahmed, and Jesse Plemons. I've never seen a guy more intense in my life. I had a ball with him, Goodman said of Tom Cruise. You can't feel tired around him. He's got that infectious energy. Plus, he'll shame you into doing things. That's what I'll be doing this fall. Haven't been working much this year.
From the Springfield Daily Citizen. A $20 million trust was meant to honor John Q. Hammond's charitable intent, so where did the money go? There's no question that hotel tycoon John Q. Hammonds had a major impact on Springfield. He built office towers, hotels, and enriched hospitals, universities, and charities before he died in 2013 at the age of 94. His money and influence brought the Springfield Cardinals and a minor league baseball stadium, Hammonds Field, which was renamed last week Route 66 Stadium. 5 years after his death, the Chapter 11 bankruptcy settlement that toppled his empire left a $20 million trust to honor Mr. Hammonds' charitable intent. So where did it all go? This is the story of that mystery. The money trail. There's a picture of the Pinnacle Sign Group employees removing the Hammonds Field sign from the stadium's main entrance Friday morning, April 24th, 2026. The ballpark has been renamed Route 66 Stadium, removing the name of the man who funded the stadium, John Q. Hammonds. So the money trail. Like any good mystery, this one has a trail of clues. They're buried within IRS tax filings, bankruptcy court documents, interviews, and records with the Missouri Secretary of State and City of Springfield. They reveal, among other things, number one, the trust was house rich and cash poor, most of its assets in 2 properties, Hammonds Field and the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. 2, the trust earned $6.5 million after selling Hammonds Field to the city in 2023, but unlike past years, the public can't see the IRS return that would reflect the sale. The John Q. Hammonds Charitable Trust, a private foundation, stopped filing its public annual returns, reported $0 in assets, and dissolved the trust. 3, in that final report, the trust declared that it had improperly been filed as a charitable foundation since it began. It had also been filing its financials under a different IRS form that's closed to public scrutiny. And lastly, the larger legacy recipients of past Hammond's gifts say they haven't seen any grants since before 2018, when a more than $1 billion bankruptcy settlement transferred control of Hammond's assets to JD Holdings LLC, a national wealth management firm. Some know, but they're not talking. There's no mystery to a select handful of people, but they're not talking. JD Holdings LLC owner Jonathan Elian, Hammond's largest creditor, and John Casale, Vice President of Investments for Atrium Holding Companies, JD Holding Companies, were named alternately in IRS filings as trustees of the John Q. Hammond's Charitable Trust. They have not responded to multiple Springfield Daily Citizen requests for interviews. 2 Springfield individuals and former trustees of the bankrupt Hammond's Revocable Trust are Jacqueline Jackie Dowdy and Gregory Groves. Under the 2018 settlement, they were named co-trustees of the JQH Trust and authorized to designate the charities to receive JQH Trust assets only with the blessing of JD Holdings. Dowdy, former CEO of JQH Hotels and Resorts and later Hammond's legal guardian, has not responded to requests for comments from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Contacted by phone, Attorney Groves repeatedly declined to comment about the status of the Hammond's Trust, citing litigation or potential litigation that we're looking at, he added later. We've got some very interesting litigation issues to look at and to determine. He would not elaborate or identify the litigation. Dowdy and Groves were offered an estimated $615,000 combined severance package in the bankruptcy settlement to resign their leadership with John Q. Hammond's Hotels and Resorts, according to the settlement. House rich, cash poor. Over the course of his lifetime, Hammond's reach went far beyond the Ozarks. He developed some 210 hotel properties and other assets across the U.S., including interest in an Illinois riverboat casino. But Springfield was always his home office and home. He finessed deals from the brass-encrusted 9th floor office of the John Q. Hammond's office building. His window overlooked Hammond's Tower and Hammond's Field across the street. To the west stood his signature atrium-style University Plaza Hotel and Convention Center and a condominium tower. Hammond's and his wife Juanita had no heirs, but over the years, Hammond's directed millions in major gifts by way of seed money or capital pledges to so-called legacy institutions, among them Missouri State and Drury Universities, Ozark Technical Community College, and the former St. John's, now Mercy Hospital in Springfield. A bankruptcy, a settlement, and the leftovers. Hammond's wealth and assets were wrapped up in his massive revocable trust, the vehicle for his commercial real estate portfolio and hotels. But in 2018, 5 years after his death, Hammond's vast hotel and business empire collapsed under the weight of a Chapter 11 bankruptcy. With it went his personal assets and an old charitable trust established in 1989. It was amended in 2013 for tax-exempt charitable giving but was never funded, IRS records show. In 2024, the IRS revoked the trust's tax-exempt status for failing to file returns for 3 consecutive years, a standard IRS practice. The downfall began in 2005 when Hammond's entered into a complex agreement with its largest creditor, New York-based JD Holdings LLC, owned by Elian, to help him privatize his publicly traded company. The new structure allowed Hammond's to exit from the public markets, obtain a degree of liquidity, and avoid a sale that would trigger capital gains taxes, according to a subsequent 2014 court document related to JD Holdings' first right of refusal in the hotel's ownership. The 2005 agreement gave JD Holdings indirect ownership of 43 Hammond's hotels and management of 15 others. Elian received a right of first refusal and various other rights regarding hotels that Hammond had developed and owned. When Hammond's died in 2013, JD Holdings launched efforts to take over the massive business portfolio, but was stopped in 2016 when the Hammond's entities filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The acrimonious 2-year bankruptcy case ultimately consumed most of Hammond's business and personal assets. Under the 2018 settlement, JD Holdings reportedly paid more than $1 billion to buy the remaining 35 JQH hotels and nearly 150 other assets, including Hammond's Tower, Hammond's Field, University Plaza Hotel and Convention Center, and Highland Springs Country Club. The 2018 bankruptcy settlement ordered JD Holdings to create a $20 million new John Q. Hammond's Charitable Trust to honor Mr. Hammond's charitable intent, but the trust was house rich and cash poor. JD Holdings was to pay $2 million in cash, sufficient funds to wind up the administration and operations of the JQH Trust and the state court probate of the estate of John Q. Hammond's, which is estimated to be $615,000, according to settlement documents. The new trust would also include 2 lien-free non-hotel assets together valued at no less than $18 million, according to the bankruptcy settlement. The non-hotel assets with a combined estimated value of no less than $18 million included the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame per the judge's specific order. JD Holdings chose Hammond's Field as the other asset. The value of the assets were to be based on the debtor's valuation as set forth in the appraisals of the non-hotel assets prepared by Alvarez and Marshall Valuation Services with an effective date of June 26, 2016. JQH Trust unloads its non-hotel assets. In 2022, the trust transferred permanent operational control of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame building and statuary garden of sports stars to operate as a nonprofit 501c3 run by a community-led board of directors. The building was sold in 2025, but the Hall of Fame continues to operate from a downtown office conducting awards and charity events and golf tournaments. The Missouri Sports Hall of Fame Executive Director Rob Marsh says the organization does not receive funds from either JQH Trust or JQH Foundation. In February of 2023, the city of Springfield negotiated a complex deal with JD Holdings Associates on behalf of the JQH Trust to acquire Hammond's Field plus adjacent parking lots. A city sales document shows it paid $6.5 million to the trust for the stadium and paid $5.5 million for the large parking lot across Trafficway to owner JD Holdings LLC. Then Mayor Ken McClure says the city could not have bought the stadium for just $6.5 million if it had not overpaid JD Holdings for JD Holdings parking lot. Before the sale, the new trust had been filing annual IRS 990-PF or private foundation. The public was able to inspect those reports online for free through IRS Tax-Exempt Organization Search or the TEOS tool. Of note in those tax returns, the 2018 initial return reflected assets of $2,005,819. The IRS tax return notes JD Holdings and Alien's $2 million court-mandated cash contribution to the trust. The 2019 IRS return shows assets of $2,017,349. In 2020, total assets jumped to $22,317,512, noting a Hammond's Field estimated value of $16,517,206. A year later, the 2021 IRS filing shows assets dropped to $1,858,889 and lists a single $99,031 charitable contribution to the John Q. Hammond's Foundation Incorporated, and that foundation no longer exists as a 501c3 tax-exempt organization according to the IRS. Curiously, the 2021 return omitted listing the Hammond's Field asset even though the ballpark wouldn't be sold for 2 more years. A veteran Springfield accounting professional who focuses on nonprofit IRS tax returns reviewed the documents for the Daily Citizen on the condition of anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the topic. That professional noted the trust had switched accounting firms in 2021, which might explain discrepancies in balance sheets. A final report and a statement of dissolution. The JQH Trust filed its 2022 tax return marked final report with $0 in assets and a statement of dissolution. The dissolution statement reads, "No final assets to distribute. The entity has improperly been filed as a charitable foundation since inception. The entity should have only filed Form 1041, which it has done since inception." The Trust's IRS forms had been public record all those years, but Form 1041 is a U.S. income tax return for estates and trusts and is closed to public scrutiny. According to one accounting professional familiar with the IRS nonprofit returns, the trustee could be saying he doesn't think the trust ever met criteria to file as a private foundation. Under IRS rules, private foundations must file Form 990 PF annually following self-dealing restrictions and distribute at least 5% of assets annually. Atrium Holdings' John Casale, the named trustee, doesn't offer any explanation in the statement of dissolution why the trust filed dual 990-1041 IRS reports, or if the JQH Charitable Trust continues to be reported under 1041 forms to the IRS today. Was it dissolved or just reclassified? The following year, 2023, the $6.5 million sale of Hammond's Field converted the JQH Trust's last physical asset to cash, creating a resource to honor Mr. Hammond's charitable intent. Where did it go after that? Was it diverted before it could be classified as a charitable trust? The trust, dissolved in 2022, did not file an IRS Form 990 PF for the public to inspect. The $6.5 million asset from the Hammond's Field sale would be filed under the IRS Form 1041 for estates and trusts, but those are closed to public scrutiny. That's assuming there is anything left of the JQH Trust. Hammond's friends have opinions about that. One theory, the trust is holding a significant portion of the $6.5 million in reserve to settle any tax liabilities related to the Form 990s improperly filed from 2018 to 2022. Another is that the trust was used to pay down a host of the JQH Trust's lingering debts, manager's fees, and related administrative costs, again, closed to public scrutiny. Their business is property investments. Retired Dr. Stephen Atwood was Hammond's longtime personal physician and friend. He had hoped Hammond's wealth would help fund local universities and hospitals, but adds, "I doubt JD Holdings cares to continue any kind of charitable grants. Their business is property investments. It's not overseeing a charitable trust to give money to people." Interviewed and photographed at the Brentwood Library on April 9th, 2026. One Springfield man says he's suspicious about the secrecy surrounding the fate of $6.5 million paid to the trust. Dr. Stephen Atwood, Hammond's longtime personal physician and friend, believes JD Holdings Elian and his associates owe it to Springfield to account for the status of the JQH Trust. It was well known that Hammond's supported the city's universities and medical institutions, and he wanted them to go on indefinitely. Much of the success of Springfield and our prosperity included support from Mr. Hammond's, Atwood said. The retired doctor and community volunteer had hoped to see Hammond's gift go to emerging technologies at MSU's Science Lab, Drury's Sustainable Housing Project, or Ozark Tech's Center for Advanced Engineering. "I doubt JD Holdings continues to care any kind of charitable grants," Atwood says. "It's not their business. Their business is property investments. It's not overseeing a charitable trust to give people money." Another longtime Hammond's friend and former Drury University president, John Moore, is convinced the money is gone, and he says he's mad, frankly, that he couldn't convince Hammond's to establish a foundation protected from creditors. He recalls advising Hammond's, "Fund it, even now, while you're alive. Don't give it to the company. Give it to a JQH foundation. Let them make the gift, and then, at your passing, let the substance of your assets, rather than going to Jonathan Elian, put it in the foundation and let it do good work." He just didn't want to deal with it. Is the charitable intent fulfilled? In the end, one could argue the JQH Trust has already fulfilled Mr. Hammond's charitable intent by giving back to Springfield 2 community assets. The trust turned over the Hall of Fame in 2022 and its own 501c3 nonprofit organization with its board of community volunteers. The bigger news came in 2023 when the JQH Trust sold Hammonds Field to the city, a reliable owner with a stake in its survival. It guaranteed the Springfield Cardinals remain in Springfield to play ball until 2038. The purchase of the large parking lot across East Trafficway was something to celebrate as well. The $20 parking fee set by JD Holdings Hospitality Wing in Wing Atrium Hospitality drew the ire of fans and Cardinals alike. It's $10 now. The MSU Bears baseball team also now has a license to play at Hammonds Field through June 30th of 2030. Ken McClure, who was mayor during Hammonds Field 2023 sale negotiations from the JQH Trust to the city, sees the benefit. It's not just an economic factor, it's a stature factor, the stature of the community. We've got the AA team of the St. Louis Cardinals, and that distinguishes us from anybody else. McClure knew Springfield could have lost the Cardinals team. The ownership of Hammonds Field had been in question since 2016 as the city worked with the JQH Trust through complex legal maneuverings. The team had threatened to leave the city if the stadium owner didn't invest in facility improvements that Major League Baseball mandated across the minor leagues. The city used unrestricted savings from its general fund and money designated for economic vitality from its level property tax fund to make the purchases. It also committed to funding $4 million worth of improvements, ensuring the ballpark met those standards. McClure became emotional in 2023 about the acquisition and does so today with the rebranding of Hammonds Field as Route 66 Stadium. Springfield has a long history with baseball dating to White City Park in the early 1900s and teams like the Springfield Cardinals and the Springfield Cubs, he says. His dad took him to his first baseball game in 1957 and they attended every season. Hammonds brought to me what was the Cadillac of minor league franchises in the Midwest. Certainly, and we're not ever going to top that, McClure says. Once they're here, we cannot, as a community, afford to ever lose them, in my opinion. We would never get another minor league team, but certainly never get another one with the stature of the Cardinals, nor one with the public support this team has. Talk about the Route 66 and the birthplace and all that, McClure says. This, to me, is every bit important as in a different context. It's stature. Yet, for all the community benefits that Hammonds Field and the Sports Hall of Fame provide, John Moore reflects on what was and what could have been Hammonds' legacy. In 1985, during Moore's 22-year tenure as Drury president, Hammonds contributed almost $6 million in the building and gift operating budget to support the later named Hammonds School of Architecture. He later pledged $1 million towards construction of Drury's science building, now named the Mercy Science Center. I think there's a feeling that the story needs to come out. It has been so filled with fog and smoke and mixed reports. It's sad that Hammonds had built up such an estate, and he was reported to be the richest man in Springfield, which he certainly promoted at every opportunity, Moore adds. And then he passed away, and what happened? Story by Catherine Odell.
And there is no shortage of Route 66 news this week. First up here, Janice Reeser. It's been closed. Janice Reeser from the Springfield News-Leader says that Springfield adds a musical road experience along historic Route 66. Drivers in Springfield can soon experience a new twist on Route 66 with the introduction of a musical road that plays America the Beautiful as cars pass over it. The attraction is on St. Louis Street near the Queen's Gate 66 installation and is expected to be available for visitors once final signage is installed, with an official opening celebration planned during the Queen's Gate 66 event on May 1st, according to a community announcement. So how does it work? Well, the road features precisely spaced rumble strips that create musical notes when driven over at a recommended speed of 30 miles per hour. The melody plays in real time as drivers and passengers travel the stretch of roadway. The song was chosen as a tribute to America's open road, the spirit of Route 66, and the upcoming celebration of the nation's 250th anniversary. This project started with a simple goal. We wanted to create a new experience unique for visitors traveling Route 66 in Springfield. Mark Heckett, President and CEO of Visit Springfield, said in the announcement. The musical road does exactly that. It gives people something unexpected, memorable, and fun, while adding another reason to stop, explore, and experience Springfield in a new way. The project was developed in partnership with Route 66 Musical Roads LLC and installed with support from the City of Springfield Public Works Department. The musical road is part of Visit Springfield's ongoing work to create memorable visitor experiences along Route 66 and throughout the city. These projects are designed to give travelers more reasons to stop, explore Springfield, stay longer, and create lasting memories, according to the announcement. In other Route 66 news, the Route 66 parade in Springfield will be a rolling tribute to the highway. This article is put together from staff reports at the Springfield News-Leader. As part of the National Route 66 Centennial Kickoff, a parade Friday in downtown Springfield will be a rolling tribute to the Mother Road. The Celebrate America on Route 66 parade will be held from 6 to 8 p.m. Friday, May 1st along St. Louis Street, from Glenstone Avenue to Campbell Avenue, passing through Park Central Square. Floats and marching bands will join the classic cars in the procession. Expect everything from early 1920s touring cars to roaring hot rods, polished chrome cruisers, motorcycles, emergency vehicles, and the iconic cars that defined Route 66 road trips for generations, the official kickoff event website says. Every vehicle is a piece of history, and collectively they create the ultimate drive through time. The event website encourages people attending the parade to use downtown parking structures and park a few blocks away before walking to the viewing area. Jack Stinson, a co-founder of the annual birthplace of Route 66 Festival, was tasked with finding at least 100 cars and trucks for the Celebrate America on Route 66 parade. Stinson told the News-Leader he challenged himself to find a car from each year the Mother Road was in commission, from 1926 to 1985. With few gaps, including during World War II when American car manufacturers focused on war materials, that was achieved. Oklahoma couple Jackie and Ed Fogel will represent the year Route 66 was born in a green 1926 Hupmobile. Hupmobiles, made between 1909 and 1939 by Hupp Motor Car Company in Detroit, are now considered orphan cars because they were produced by a manufacturer that has gone out of business. The couple told the News-Leader they plan to travel from Chicago to Santa Monica, California on Route 66 for the Centennial, stopping in Springfield for the kickoff celebration on the way. The parade will be held rain or shine. According to the National Weather Service office in Springfield, the forecast for Friday shows mostly sunny skies and a high near 62 degrees during the day, with mostly cloudy skies and a low around 39 degrees Friday night. Worth noting that article was published April 28th, so that weather report may no longer be accurate. And in more Route 66 and Centennial news, another article from Janice Reeser at the Springfield News-Leader says that Springfield is going to mark Route 66 Centennial with a community time capsule. Springfield is preparing to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Route 66 with the creation of a Centennial time capsule. The History Museum on the Square, in partnership with the Missouri Route 66 Centennial Commission and Springfield Public Schools, is leading the project, according to a community announcement. The Route 66 Centennial Time Capsule will be showcased during the birthplace of Route 66 Plaza dedication ceremony at 4 p.m. April 30th at the corner of Jefferson Avenue and St. Louis Street in downtown Springfield, near the site of the former Colonial Hotel where the telegram naming Route 66 was sent in 1926. Donated by Holloway America, the large stainless steel time capsule will be filled with contributions from across the community, including local organizations, businesses, and individuals. Springfield Public School students are contributing letters, artwork, essays, and reflections that capture their lives, perspectives, and hopes for the future. The contents of the time capsule are intentionally focused on the everyday, capturing the lived experiences of Springfield in 2026 through personal stories, creative expression, and community. Voices that might otherwise be lost to time, according to the announcement. In addition to these community contributions, the full Route 66 Centennial Kickoff Weekend, from national media coverage on the morning of April 30th through the events of May 2nd, will be documented. This documentation will be added to the time capsule, ensuring that the historic celebration itself is preserved alongside the voices of the community. Once sealed, the time capsule will be placed in Jubilee Park across from the birthplace of Route 66 Plaza, where it will remain undisturbed until its reopening at 4 p.m. April 30th, 2126, exactly 100 years after the centennial moment it commemorates. This project started as a challenge to share Springfield's deep connection to Route 66 while also finding a meaningful way to preserve the stories of today, Sean Fitzgibbons, Executive Director of the History Museum on the Square, said in the announcement. What we realized is that while future generations will be able to easily look up our major events and headlines, it's the everyday details, the personal reflections, the creativity of our students, and the hopes we have for the future that truly define who we are. This time capsule is our message forward, a snapshot of Springfield in 2026, created by the people who live here and entrusted to those who will shape it next. It's been wonderful to see our students share their personal stories and hopes for the future through this project, Jessica Blake, Coordinator of Community Relations, said in the announcement. Springfield Public Schools is excited to give our students a voice in the Route 66 time capsule, offering a real look at what it's like to grow up in Springfield today. We hope these letters and reflections give people in 21 and 26 a meaningful connection to the students of 2026. The public is invited to attend. This time and date have passed. The public was invited to attend the birthplace of Route 66 Plaza dedication ceremony at 4 p.m. yesterday, April 30th.
And if you're looking for another festival coming in May, thousands set to gather in downtown Nixa for Sucker Days Festival. Thousands are expected to gather in downtown Nixa for the 68th Annual Sucker Days Festival. The event is planned for May 15th through 16th and will feature live music, food, arts, and crafts vendors, a parade, and activities for all ages, according to a community announcement. Sucker Days is one of those weekends that reminds you what community really feels like, Whitney Goosen, president of the Nixa Area Chamber of Commerce, said in the announcement. It's something people come back to year after year, and we're proud to keep that tradition going. The festival is expected to draw more than 15,000 people. One of the main attractions is the Sucker Fish Fry, which is scheduled for noon May 16th. The fish fry is a long-standing tradition that many attendees look forward to each year. Samples will be available while supplies last. In addition to the fish fry, the festival will feature more than 100 arts and crafts vendors offering handmade goods and unique finds from across the region. Food trucks, a beer garden, and kids' rides will also be available. Live music will be performed throughout the weekend by regional bands and performers. Admission to the festival is free and open to the public. We are currently broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store situated at 2713 North Kansas Expressway, Springfield, Missouri. For additional information about our store, please visit our official website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. To explore more of our video content, including movie reviews with Matt and Meredith, adaptive technology training videos, and other informative material, please visit our YouTube channel by searching for Blind Community Thrift Store. Our organization is dedicated to supporting the blind community through various initiatives, and our online platforms serve as valuable resources for community engagement and education. From the Springfield Daily Citizen, teen artist Mabel Smallwood turned storage problem into art business. Mabel Smallwood has turned a storage issue into an art business. She had been creating at home, specializing in polymer clay, when she realized she had a problem on her hands. She had way too much stuff in her parents' Springfield home. I think I was just like, well, I have too many things, so I guess I'll put them out and see if anyone wants them, Smallwood said. And I had a place to sell them, and people bought them. Smallwood was 9 years old at the time. She sold earrings at her parents' restaurant, the Wheelhouse. It was so exciting, she said. It was like 50 cents for a tiny clay thing, but it was really exciting. She leveled up at age 13, applying to be a vendor at Cider Days as Made by Mabel Art 4 years later, she's a regular at another art festival too. The Glendale High School junior will be selling her art at the 45th Arts Fest on historic Walnut Street, May 2nd and 3rd. She'll be at booth number 65. When I was little, I didn't really think about if it was good, I just liked doing it. Smallwood's love of art comes naturally. When she was younger, her mom did a lot of art, so they made art together. Her mother was also her elementary school art teacher for a time. I loved it, Smallwood said. It was so fun because she always did really fun projects. Smallwood was about 8 when her mother's friend introduced her to polymer clay. She fell in love with it immediately. I like that you can make detailed things, she said. It's not too messy and you don't have to wait a long time because you put it in the oven and it bakes super fast. It didn't feel like work or a potential career path at the time. It was just a lot of fun. When I was little, I wasn't good at it, but I really didn't think about if I was good, Smallwood said. I just liked doing it. But I think doing polymer clay as my main thing has helped me get better over time. Becoming the youngest artist at Cider Days. Smallwood opened up an Etsy shop for a bit to sell her art, but discovered she liked doing in-person sales a lot better. And then my mom was doing some research and she found the Cider Days application and said, "You should sign up," Smallwood recalls. She did, and she was juried into the show. I just kind of did it. It was a little intimidating, but I just didn't really think too hard about it. It helped that she knew a few people who also sold art at Cider Days. She said her first festival was really fun. My display was super colorful and it was different from everybody else's, she said. I remember everyone was like, "You're the youngest person I've ever seen," and I was like, "Thanks?" Smallwood applied for Arts Fest 8 months later and has been a Walnut Street regular ever since. I have loved watching her grow up at Arts Fest and develop her skills, said Sarah Abel, Program Director for the Springfield Regional Arts Council. This is her art and her business, and she can speak so articulately about it. I think it ties back to the mission of the Arts Council. Anyone can be an artist, you just have to find your lane. Abel and the Arts Council teams were busy this week getting everything ready for Arts Fest. This is the first time they've done the festival without the Downtown Springfield Association. We had worked collaboratively and hired and contracted the DSA for about 19 years, I believe, so this is our first year, she said. I'm the event manager. Claire Utley is handling artist relations, and everyone else has stepped into key roles. It's been really fun. This is my 6th Arts Fest, so watching the festival rebound from the pandemic has been really cool experience. And for it to overlap with the Route 66 Centennial this year, I think is going to make it an even more vibrant place. Abel said about 105 artists have juried into the festival, which, once again, features live entertainment, food, vendors, and more. Admission is $5, and children ages 5 get in for free. 5 and under get in for free. This year's Arts Fest continues a partnership with the SMC Packaging Group, but in a different way. That business had previously supplied trash cans for the event. Thanks to some support from the City of Springfield, that isn't necessary this year. But the Arts Council wanted to keep its relationship with SMC going, so they collaborated for some interesting Springfield-centric installations that Abel hopes will appeal to tourists and local alike. One of them is a giant cardboard snake. The Cobra Scare is my most favorite thing about Springfield, she said. It's a weird folklore thing, and the majority of the cobras were killed by Midwestern moms with hose in their backyard. What better representation of our Midwest innovation and gumption than the Cobra Scare? The cardboard snake, which Abel says is taller than her, has been decorated so it will have a whimsical story to teach people about the Cobra Scare. And that's not all, Abel said. SMC has constructed the world's second tallest Hammond's Tower out of cardboard. It's about 10 feet tall and will be set up in the shadow of the world's tallest Hammond's Tower. There's also a collaboration with the Boys and Girls Club of Springfield for some Warhol-inspired soup cans to celebrate the city's food scene. We basically gave them an art piece and they used it as reference and made it their own, she said. So we have a grocery store sack of giant soup cans that are going to be on display. Preparing for festivals is a month-long process. Smallwood was busy this week too. She said it takes about 3 months to create enough inventory to stock her booth. I work almost every day from the time I get out of school until almost when I go to bed most nights, she said. My mom helps a lot. She'll paint base colors or help me with products. She's very helpful, and then my dad helps me make signs and stands to put things on. This year, especially, has been kind of difficult to do school and get ready for Arts Fest, but it's just really fun. Made by Mabel Art will be selling the usual goods during this year's Arts Fest: earrings, keychains, magnets, and more. Smallwood especially loves the frog figurines she makes. They have different outfits and jobs. I think that's my favorite because I like coming up with the different jobs and outfits for them. Smallwood tries to elevate her game every year, improving her products and adding new things. This year, she has thrifted shirts that she's sewn patchwork things on, as well as cloth cases for digital cameras. Her stuff is so funky and whimsical, and to watch not only her skill but her taste develop as well is great, Abel said. You can always tell which are her pieces, but they're evolving even as she grows. Smallwood plans to continue taking art classes at Glendale. She's enjoying ceramics this year and will take sculpture as a senior. She's already taken drawing and painting classes. She credits her mother and teachers like Miss Ward and Miss O for encouraging her along her journey. After graduation, Smallwood plans to attend Ozarks Technical Community College on the A+ program, but isn't sure what's after that. I definitely want to take art classes, but I don't really know what my main focus will be, she said. At the very least, she's found a lifelong hobby and a way to earn a little extra money. In addition to the Walnut Street events, Smallwood will also take part in the Pickwick Street Fair on June 6th. She encourages other young artists to give Springfield area festivals a try. I like watching all the people come and see my art, and I especially like it when people think it's something cute, she said. It just makes me happy to see the type of people who buy my things. It's fun to you and you like making a lot of things. You should see if it works because it's really fun. And even if only a couple of people buy your things, then a couple of people buy your things. It's really fun to see, and the whole process is really exciting. Want to go? Arts Fest on historic Walnut Street, May 2nd and 3rd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. both days. On historic Walnut Street between National Avenue and Kimbrough Avenue. Tickets are $5, available online in advance or at the gate. Children ages 5 and under get in free.
And speaking of the arts and ephemera, Marta Mees with the Springfield News-Leader says that Springfield trinket trade boxes are inviting locals to swap small items. Heads up, trinket collectors and sticker connoisseurs. New trinket trade boxes are showing up around Springfield. Pink boxes full of miniature figures, crafts, bracelets, and other doodads have been set up as an invitation for local residents to share and trade their collections. So far, 2 of these trinket trade boxes have been placed at local businesses. One is in the plant room at 1349 South Glenstone Avenue, and another is outside of Ledoux's Furniture and Whatnots at 422 West Commercial Street. These were set up roughly a week ago by Arcadia Fenn, age 27, who moved back to the Ozarks a few months ago after living in Virginia. What she missed most was a sense of community and different free assets around town that offered folks an opportunity to connect. She got the idea from trinket trade boxes online, with the practice becoming increasingly more popular in larger cities. Following is a photo of Arcadia Fenn as she poses next to one of these trinket trade boxes. It's very pretty decorated, and she's wearing a nice checkered dress. It looks very fun and community oriented. I thought it would be really cool if we had something like that here to kind of promote community and just be like a fun little free thing for people to go do. Get them out of the house and out in the community, Finn said. And I thought it'd be a really cool way to kind of promote some local businesses as well. As she developed the idea, Finn made a post on a local Facebook page seeing if there would be interest in a trinket trade locally. In turn, Finn drew in hundreds of reactions and dozens of comments and was able to connect with several local businesses interested in hosting a box. Finn set out to find boxes on Facebook Marketplace to repurpose. She spray painted them in her backyard, wrote instructions and notes on them, and set them up. Through an Instagram and TikTok account, Finn shared her plans and has seen the boxes overflow with trinkets. Her personal favorite trinkets to collect are Smiskies, miniature glow-in-the-dark green characters in different poses and scenarios. But in the boxes, she loves seeing the creations of local artists who have shared their art in the box. Following is a photo of a trinket trade box that's full of Stickers, bracelets, and other tidbits. This is the one that's outside of Ledoux's Furniture and Whatnots on Commercial Street. And this was taken Monday, April 27th. It's very full. More recently, Fenn also started a community journal. Seeing posts online about friend groups exchanging traveling journals, Fenn set out to create a journal that invites community members to contribute their thoughts, artwork, prose, or anything else that comes to mind on the pages that switch hands between Springfield's residents. The journal, set up at the Plant Room Trinket Trade Box, is a way to inspire connection and share pieces of Springfieldians' lives. It's kind of like a way to get to know each other because you kind of learn a lot through people's journaling, said Fenn, who's a junk journaler herself. When the journal is full, Fenn will scan each page and create a digital booklet freely available to all in the community to read. With the amount of positive feedback, she said the goal of both the journal and Trinket Trade Boxes is simple: to share joy. I think that's something that's already kind of happened with me, at least. It's just kind of building trust with other people. Because there's just so much negative happening, and it's really hard to see the good in other people right now, Fenn said. Just since I've started, I've had so many people reach out to me and offer to help with things. While still a relatively new endeavor, Fenn said she hopes to set up more Trinket Trade Boxes and spread them out to other parts of Springfield, including downtown and on the south side. Eventually, she also hopes to be able to organize free or low-cost events. Updates on the Trinket Trade project can be found on Instagram and TikTok at sgf.trinkettrade.
The Blind Community Thrift Store is a spacious 17,000 square foot thrift store located in Springfield, Missouri. It holds the distinction of being the first retail store worldwide to incorporate NaviLens technology, which significantly enhances accessibility for the blind, visually impaired, and non-English speaking individuals. This innovative system enables customers to navigate and shop with minimal assistance, fostering independence and confidence. The store operates as a nonprofit organization dedicated to generating funds that support the provision of adaptive technology and training for the blind and visually impaired community, often at little to no cost. Visitors can learn more about the organization and access its services by visiting the store in person at 2713 North Kansas Expressway, Springfield, Missouri, or by exploring the website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The website offers comprehensive information about the store's mission, services, and opportunities for community involvement, as well as details about the free store available to residents in the Springfield area. For today's weather forecast, from Tom Schmidt at OzarksFirst.com, calm weekend ahead with sunny skies and calm weather. If you liked Thursday, you'll enjoy today. Temperatures will be mild in the mid-60s this afternoon with a steady north breeze around 10 miles per hour. Skies will be cloudier across southern Missouri and northern Arkansas today, with more sunshine breaking out for areas north of Highway 60 in central Missouri. For those going out on a Friday night, you'll want to have a couple of layers. Temperatures will be cool for the upper 40s to low 30s overnight. After a chilly start Saturday morning, we'll find nice calm weather in the low to mid-60s Saturday afternoon under sunny skies. A southwest breeze returns on Sunday, helping raise temperatures into the 70s to end the weekend. Warm and windy weather builds for Monday ahead of a cold front that will bring our next chance of rain and thunderstorms on Monday night. The risk for severe weather is low when storms initially blow in ahead of the cold front late on Monday, with rain showers lingering into Tuesday. The overall look for the first half of May will feature a trough in the east. This should help keep temperatures cooler than normal at times. This will also limit severe weather chances for some extent over the next couple of weeks, with the pattern looking drier than normal.
And the trial begins in the wrongful death suit over DEA shooting of Caleb Slay. This article from the Springfield Daily Citizen and Jackie Rewald says the mother of Caleb Slay, the Springfield man who was fatally shot by a federal agent in 2020, is getting what she described as her, quote, only semblance of justice this week. A bench trial is happening in U.S. District Judge Roseanne Ketchmark's courtroom to resolve Tina Slay's wrongful death civil suit against the government for the shooting of death of her 25-year-old son. Drug Enforcement Agency agent Anthony Gasparoni shot and killed Caleb Slay while Caleb Slay was on the front lawn of his house on Maryland Avenue on November 2nd, 2020. I have waited 5 years for the truth, Tina Slay said in an interview last week. Caleb never raised his voice, he never argued, he never yelled, he never did anything. He was very calm. The only ones yelling and the only ones escalating were the DEA agents. Tina Slay, identified in the suit as Tina Richardson, filed the federal lawsuit 2023, initially naming Gasparoni and his partner, Agent John Stewart, the city of Springfield, and the United States of America as defendants. But in a 2024 ruling, Judge Ketchmark dismissed the claims against the officers and the city. Tina Slay's wrongful death, intentional tort claim against the United States survived. The primary question the judge will decide is whether Gasparoni used more force than was reasonably necessary against Caleb Slay, and if so, how much should his survivors be compensated? Greene County prosecutor Dan Patterson ruled in 2020 the shooting was legally justified and no criminal charges would be filed against the agents. In his report, Patterson noted that Caleb Slay was armed with a gun, didn't obey the agent's commands to stay in the vehicle, and that results from Slay's autopsy were positive for methamphetamine. Tina Slay is represented by the California law firm Burris, Niesenbaum, Curry, and Lacey, LLP, one of the top civil rights firms in the nation. John Burris, one of the partners, was involved in representing Rodney King in a civil case that led to a $3.8 million jury verdict in the 1990s. On November 2, 2020, at approximately 3:28 p.m., DEA agents Gasparoni and Stewart, special agents with the Drug Enforcement Administration's St. Louis Division, were in Springfield conducting surveillance at an apartment complex they say was known for drug trafficking. Caleb Slay was not the target of the DEA agents' investigation that day, but during their surveillance, the agents decided to follow a U-Haul pickup they suspected was involved in illegal drug activity. The U-Haul was driven by a man named Casey Ray, a friend of Slay's. Ray drove the truck from the apartment complex to Slay's house in the 1800 block of South Maryland. The DEA agents followed the U-Haul truck in separate vehicles. When the U-Haul arrived at Slay's house, Slay and Edward Burst were sitting in Burst's vehicle. Agent Stewart arrived first. Gasparoni arrived moments later after Ray had parked the U-Haul and Stewart had detained Ray and begun questioning him. While that was happening, Slay got out of the vehicle and began walking toward his house. Stewart ordered Slay to get back in the vehicle several times, but Slay did not. Around this time, Slay informed the officers that he had a gun in his rear waistband and had his hands held out in front of his body. In the plaintiff's trial briefs, Tina Slay's attorneys wrote that Caleb Slay's actions were consistent with what citizens are taught to do in concealed carry classes when they encounter police while lawfully armed. Gasparoni attempted to detain Caleb Slay by grabbing both of Slay's arms. Gasparoni contends that Slay, quote, tensed up. Stewart then approached Caleb Slay from behind, and Gasparoni told Stewart that Slay had a gun. According to the agent's accounts, Caleb Slay jerked away from Stewart but didn't attempt to flee. Stewart then attempted to tackle Caleb Slay but fell to the ground. From the ground, Stewart tried to pull Caleb Slay to the ground, and the two apparently wrestled a bit. The agents contend Caleb Slay was reaching for his gun in his right rear waistband when Gasparoni shot Caleb Slay in the head. Tina Slay's attorneys indicated they have 4 witnesses who will testify Caleb Slay wasn't reaching for his gun and was bent at the waist when Gasparoni shot him in the head. In his opening remarks Tuesday, April 28th, Tina Slay's attorney, Ben Niesenbaum, called the shooting unreasonable. Niesenbaum told the judge she would hear evidence that Caleb Slay was not reasonably suspected of committing a crime when the agents arrived at Slay's home that day nearly 6 years ago, and that Slay was generally cooperative. Niesenbaum said 4 witnesses, 2 men who were Slay's friends, and 2 neighbors, will testify that Caleb Slay was not reaching for his gun when the agent shot him. They will testify not that they didn't see it, but that it didn't happen, Niesenbaum said. Every single non-DEA agent or witness will testify Mr. Slay took no such action. Niesenbaum told the judge that the 4 civilian witnesses were immediately separated after the shooting before giving their statements to investigators and would have had no way to corroborate their stories. The 2 agents, on the other hand, were interviewed about 2.5 weeks after the shooting, continued to work together, and had opportunities to coordinate their stories, Niesenbaum said. Caleb Slay suffered 2 gunshot wounds to his head, Niesenbaum explained in his opening remarks. One of those shots was right above Slay's ear, and the other was closer to the top of his head. Both shots came in a downward trajectory, which is independent forensic evidence that contradicts the agent's accounts, Niesenbaum said. Niesenbaum said he expects the Greene County medical examiner will testify about evidence that the barrel of the agent's gun was less than 2 inches from Slay's head when he was shot just above his ear. Niesenbaum said Agent Gasparoni told investigators he was much farther away when he shot Slay. In his opening remarks, Niesenbaum told the judge she will hear from an expert who trains police departments nationwide that the shooting, quote, violates police standards in so many ways. The attorney told the judge she will hear evidence of investigators finding used syringes in Caleb Slay's home, but according to Niesenbaum, the medical examiner will testify he found no track marks on Caleb Slay's body. Niesenbaum acknowledged that Caleb Slay had recently dealt with some mental health struggles and had suicidal thoughts at one point. And finally, Niesenbaum spoke about his client and her loss. Tina Slay loved her son very much, he said. They were a very close family. Her love for him will never be extinguished. Assistant U.S. Attorney Krista Moss also gave opening remarks on Tuesday morning on behalf of the government. This is a tragic but straightforward case where very few facts are in dispute, Moss said. A federal law enforcement officer had to make a split-second decision that saved his partner's life. Moss was adamant that Gasparoni fired his gun only after he saw Caleb Slay reaching for his gun while Slay was resisting Agent Stewart, who was already on the ground. Moss said the two DEA agents had a combined 24 years of experience, 13 of those years spent investigating drugs and gangs. Moss spent several minutes detailing all of the suspicious activity the agents observed that day leading up to the shooting, including hand-to-hand drug deals at an apartment complex that led to the agents following the U-Haul truck to Slay's house. After Agent Stewart arrived at Slay's house and made contact with Ray, the driver of the U-Haul, Moss said Stewart observed Slay, quote, staring intently and believed he might interject. According to Moss, Caleb Slay refused to comply with the officer's commands and resisted when they attempted to detain him. He tensed. He became combative and he forced Agent Stewart to the ground, Moss said, adding that Stewart will also testify he saw Caleb Slay attempting to, quote, establish a grip on the gun. Gasparoni made a split-second decision based on years of experience, Moss said. Gasparoni only made that choice to fire his weapon when the immediate threat to their lives materialized and did exactly what he was trained to do.
From 417 Magazine, Brew 21 serves community and purpose. With a mission as simple as spreading joy, Brew 21 Extra Chromosome Coffee Company is changing the lives of local young adults with disabilities. When you walk into Brew 21, located inside the Upside Down Mercantile at 209 West Commercial Street in Springfield, you're greeted at the door by someone just as excited to see you as you are them. After browsing the Mercantile and grabbing a coffee, you most likely won't leave without a hug from one of the cheerful employees hoping to make your day. Owners Chris and Whitney Justice employ individuals with disabilities to work at Brew 21 by taking orders, making drinks, and greeting customers. Anyone who knows these young adults knows they're the life of the party wherever they go. Brew 21 started as a mobile coffee trailer in 2023. Chris and Whitney started the business for their 17-year-old son Wyatt, who has Down syndrome. We wanted to come up with a job he could have that would give him purpose and have meaning, Whitney says. We just started praying and dreaming about what that could look like. After much success with the trailer, the Justices began exploring the idea of opening a brick and mortar. They're affiliated with the Down syndrome group of the Ozarks and had a dream of teaming up with the Upside Down Mercantile someday. Knowing Upside Down Mercantile was moving into a bigger space, they decided to put some feelers out there. What's crazy, too, was I had messaged the leaders of the Upside Down group and the manager of the store and just said, "We don't know what the future holds, but we're praying for what's next and what we're going to do," Whitney says. And they were both like, "You're never going to believe this, but we're moving into a bigger space, and we had already talked about what if we brought Brew 21 in." Brew 21 opened in their physical space at the end of November of 2025 on a Small Business Saturday. The space is joyful, inviting, and comfortable. They offer signature drinks like the popular Wits Pick, French vanilla and caramel, Dad's Choice, caramel, coconut, and mocha, and the one named after Wyatt, the JW, peanut butter and chocolate, along with classic and seasonal flavors. Chris and Whitney support their employees by spending time with them and learning how they work best. Most of them do very well with instructions, lists, and routines. Many of the employees have worked there for years, and the Justices have learned the best thing they can do for them day to day is let them be themselves and allow their personalities to shine. They really do just thrive with the tasks you've given them, Chris says. The goal of the business has never been profit, but rather purpose. Our goal isn't really financial, Whitney said. The goal is to create a workplace for people with special needs to have a job and thrive, really. It's really just about them. What began as a way to build something meaningful for Wyatt has grown into a broader mission of inclusion and opportunity. College students pursuing careers in education and special needs services are hired to help, and the team has become a tight-knit, reliable, and invested in the mission. Long-term, the Justices hope to create a coffee packaging and production space to create additional roles for adults with special needs who might prefer quieter behind-the-scenes work, and the expansion to a brick-and-mortar location is a step in the right direction. It's all blessings, Chris says. Everything has worked out, and we've been blessed with great help and people who want to be involved.
And released goldfish can rapidly disrupt lake ecosystems, a study finds. Janice Reeser from the Columbia Daily Tribune brings us this story through the News-Leader that says goldfish released into lakes can rapidly disrupt freshwater ecosystems, according to a community announcement from the University of Missouri. A new study by the University of Missouri and the University of Toledo, published in the Journal of Animal Ecology, found that goldfish can trigger ecological collapse by clouding water, consuming prey, and outcompeting native species. The research team conducted large, controlled outdoor experiments using small artificial lakes to simulate real-world conditions. They introduced goldfish into ecosystems representing both nutrient-poor and nutrient-rich waters and monitored the ecological consequences over time, according to the announcement. The results were stark. Water quality declined rapidly as goldfish churned up bottom sediments, increasing suspended particles and signaling a fundamental shift in the ecosystem. Native species suffered as well. Populations of snails, amphipods, and zooplankton, small invertebrates that form the foundation of healthy aquatic ecosystems, fell sharply as goldfish consumed prey and destroyed habitat. Native fish competing with goldfish for food and other resources also showed reduced body conditions, an early warning sign of long-term population decline. These impacts were not limited to any single type of lake. Goldfish consistently altered ecosystem functions, suggesting few freshwater systems are immune. The study used two complementary experimental approaches to separate the specific effects of goldfish from changes caused simply by having more fish in a system. While some shifts in plant communities were tied to overall fish density, the most severe ecological damage was directly attributable to the goldfish. In lakes invaded by goldfish, researchers documented what ecologists call a regime shift, a tipping point at which an ecosystem rapidly reorganizes into a fundamentally different, often degraded state. Once this point is crossed, such shifts are notoriously difficult and expensive to reverse, according to the announcement. If goldfish are released into the wild, they rapidly grow into very large fish that stir up lake sediments, consume large numbers of prey, and compete with native fish. Rick Rayla, professor in the College of Agricultural, Food and Natural Resources, director of Mizzou's Johnny Morris Institute of Fisheries, Wetlands, and Aquatic Systems, and co-author of the study, said in the announcement. The global pet trade moves species around the world at an unprecedented scale, and goldfish rank among the most widely distributed ornamental fish on Earth. The researchers urge natural resource managers to treat goldfish as a high-priority invasive species and to invest in prevention, early detection, and control efforts before populations become established. They also stress the importance of public education so pet owners understand the ecological consequences of releasing aquatic animals. It is critically important to inform the public that their pets can become pests that harm freshwater ecosystems. William Hentz, an associate professor at the University of Toledo and the lead author of the study, said it in the announcement. Releasing a goldfish into the wild may feel like an act of kindness, but it can quickly become a major ecological threat. For pet owners with unwanted goldfish, humane alternatives include returning fish to pet stores, rehoming them with other aquarium enthusiasts, or contacting local wildlife authorities for guidance.
Also from 417 Magazine, The Safe Spoon by Sensitively Sweet. As 417 Magazine's food editor, it's safe to say that I dine out often. It wasn't until I was pregnant with my daughter Florence in 2024 that I realized how big a privilege it is to be able to eat anywhere without worrying about off-limit ingredients that aren't safe for me to consume. And the list of what to forego when you're pregnant is pale in comparison to what people with food allergies and sensitivities have to avoid long term. That's why the Safe Spoon is filling a big void in 417 land dining scene. Here, allergen-free food isn't an afterthought. The menu is full of breakfast and lunch classics that are celiac and alpha-gal safe, free from the top 9 allergens. For this review, I attended the private soft opening for breakfast, then went on my own for lunch. Both times I left feeling full and didn't miss the gluten or dairy one bit. Starting off with the coffee, I ordered the cinnamon roll latte with flaxseed milk. I'll admit I'm super skeptical of any type of alternative milk, so I didn't have high hopes for this latte initially, but it proved me wrong and set the tone for a great meal. The flaxseed milk contained added protein, making this latte extra creamy and thick. I ordered the berries and cream pancake for my main and a side of turkey bacon, which I split with Florence, now age 1. Let's just say we were both fans and barely had any leftovers. If I didn't explicitly know there wasn't any gluten or dairy in these pancakes, they would have fooled me. They were perfectly fluffy and didn't have that grainy texture or filmy feeling that some gluten and dairy-free ingredient gives off. When I returned for lunch a few weeks later with Florence, I went in knowing that I needed to order us our own dishes. The Safe Spoon is such a kid-friendly place, and I love that they have paper menus with crayons and plenty of high chairs. I ordered Florence a sun butter and jelly sandwich with applesauce, and I, of course, had to try a bite for research purposes. This sandwich was a delightful take on the classic, and the fact that they serve it warm is a testament to this cafe's thoughtfulness. The Nyangwa on sourdough bread was my order of choice, and it wasn't until after I finished the sandwich that I realized it didn't have any cheese or cheese alternatives. The sweet caramelized onion, creamy garlic aioli, and date barbecue sauce gave this chicken and turkey bacon sandwich all the craveable flavor it needed. Right before I left the restaurant, I caught a bit of a conversation going at the neighboring table. It sums up exactly why this inclusive cafe is such a great addition to our dining scene. This is just so nice, the woman said to her friend. There's just something about being able to go out and eat and feel like you're normal. From the Springfield News-Leader. Missouri 7th District residents can get federal access to help June 1st and through 5th. Residents in Missouri's 7th Congressional District can get help with federal agencies during Constituent Services Week scheduled for June 1st through 5th. Representative Eric Burles and staff will be available at 5 locations across the district to assist with issues related to the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, Veterans Benefits, Immigration, the Small Business Administration, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, passports, and other federal services. No appointment is required, and staff will be available from noon to 3 p.m. at each location according to a community announcement. The event schedule: June 1st at Southwest City Library, 102 North Main Street in Southwest City. June 2nd, Neosho Newton County Library at 201 West Spring Street in Neosho. June 3rd at the Barry Lawrence Library in 202 South Jefferson Avenue in Aurora. June 4th, the Shell Knob Library at 24931 State Highway 39 in Shell Knob. June 5th, Sparta City Hall, 200 North Avenue in Sparta. Residents are encouraged to bring any relevant documentation to help staff assist them. For more information, contact Representative Burleson's office, district office at 417-889-1800. Thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio.